morning, y'all. It is I, Stephanie Nelson Davis. Please call me Moogie. Okay, so today, I want to talk to y'all about religion. Okay, um, specifically, how religion played a big part in the founding of America, and the fact that most people don't know why there is a separation of church and state. Okay, so y'all know most. It wasn't just England having people here. You had the French, you had the Spanish, Italians, everybody. Okay, but by the time, and yes, we know all about the witch burnings. So I'm actually chilly this morning. Please excuse me. I'm in the bed with my cats keeping me warm. But by the time, because actually getting shipped to America was a punishment for a long time. They would send you to the Americas to be an indentured servant, aka a slave, until you worked off your supposed debt to society. There's a lot of people that got sent here that way. Of course, we all know about the Puritanicals who, didn't actually burn anybody, but they sure did kill up towards 18 people, including men. One poor man who they pressed to death, which is they kept adding more and more weight on him until he just couldn't breathe and he died. And he never pled guilty so that his family could keep his stuff. That was a main component of the Salem witch trials, was greed. But by the time you get to the founding fathers, okay, and this this about 100 years later in the 1700s, and by that time, though, the amount of people who were killed over the question of Catholic or Protestant or any offshoot has been enormous. Throughout history, religion has killed more people than all the wars put together. All of them. Religion, and even if it's Protestant Catholic, up until recent, I was there in the late 90s, 2000, and there was still the threat of the IRA, Irish Republican Army. And that question there, too, was Catholic, Protestant. Same God, same book. It's just how you worship that would get you killed. In America, to get rid of, to forego those kinds of petty, frankly idiotic reasons to kill your frickin' neighbor, that is why there is a separation of church and politics. That is why the freedom of religion in America, it lets you worship how you want or not worship. It's up to you because that's a fundamental freedom. Belongs to everybody. And in a country where you have, how many? Just Christian? You got the Baptists, you got the Southern Baptists, you got, you got Presbyterian, you got, Lutheran, Protestant, Catholic, Roman Catholic, agnostic, just a whole huge plethora. Not to count in what I consider cults, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists. A lot of these culty, and that's just on the Christian side, and you're not even thinking about the Muslims, Judea, the Jews. Um, you got Hindu, you got Buddhists, you got, Shinto, you got Sikhs, there are so many different religions, and then, like me, there's the different type of Wicca, uh, which, by the way, has been recognized by the U.S. government and the U.S. military since 1952, so fuck off if you don't think it's a real religion. It sure as shit is. So, there's that. Pushing in Christianity is the biggest one, in my view, having grown up, in America, and then spent time overseas. American Christians are the ones that just love to shove their shit down your throat. They truly do. When I was in England, I brought my kids to a church. We attended a Church of England church, because I was friends with the pastor, and I want my kids to understand the different religions. When we were in Japan, we participated in both Buddhist and Shinto ceremonies, which were lovely, and we had a blast teaching my kids about the different religions. It's a huge part of what my youngest, Rose, is a huge part of her instruction that I give her is the different religions. Although one of my dearest friends is a Roman, and I'm going to have her teach Rosie. God, I'm sorry, girls. Teach Rosie about Catholicism, because she also taught my older children about Catholicism. And her form, she's a very faithful woman. She's not a huge religious woman. She's a very faithful woman. There's a difference. And I respect everybody's faith. There's room in this world for everybody's way. I'll look out for you on your path. You look out for me on mine. But it doesn't mean we have to fight about it. It doesn't mean that one way's better than the other. I will never, ever, ever tell you that my way is better than yours. My way is better for me. That's not saying it's better for you. That's not my place. Your beliefs, what you believe, what you choose to believe in, what you choose to follow, that is entirely up to you. And whatever you learned, both as a child and as an adult. And if you have never looked outside your own little box, I encourage you to. Because there's so many shades and so many different, and and a zealot is a zealot is a zealot. I don't care what religion it is. A zealot is a zealot. And anybody who has the hubris to sit there and tell you how you're living your life the wrong way because you don't follow their rules, that's a zealot. And you need to cut that motherfucker out of your life. You don't need it. Somebody giving you advice is one thing. Telling you what to do is another. Unless it's a parental unit and you're under 18, hi Thomas, it is not their place to tell you what you can and cannot believe. It's not. You'll have to excuse. I only do this from my phone. I actually don't own a tablet or a computer. My kids do, and I could probably use their shit. But I'm proud Gen X. I can work my phone. Kind of work a computer, but and if I actually get to a point where I actually have more subscribers, I might enlist my kid to help me. Yeah. Let's be real here. My son, he just put a memory card in my phone for me because, yeah, I let him do that stuff. I will break it. I'm terrible. I drop everything. This is my lovely teacup. You can see it's got plenty of marks. It's a thermos. I need a thermos because I drop this thing all the fucking time. And I need my tea. PG Tips. A good, strong black English tea. Gives me just as much caffeine as a cup of coffee. Hey, free promo. But anyways, I am, you know, growing up, we weren't, we didn't have a specific, I know my mom was raised Lutheran, I believe. The troll she married was a Roman, was Catholic, but booted from the church because he divorced. But still, you know, my step siblings were all in the Catholic Church until every last one of them got molested by uh, a family of janitors that lived there. It's one of the biggest, you know, everybody knew. I guess there used to be nuns there. They got rid of all the nuns. They got, you know, I was too young, and I've only ever been in public schools, and that was probably one of the only places where I didn't get sexually harassed or anything. Although going to school after my step siblings, I was treated like shit. Not by the teachers. Teachers liked me because I knew I was smart. It was the staff, the rest of the staff. But anyways, that's just getting off into a tangent elsewhere. But you know, I did. We used to go to Sunday Mass in the winter because it was a warm place where we could be. And there was a Southern Baptist church that had a bus that'd go around and pick up kids. And I used to do that because, again, you know, when I was a kid, I'd get kicked out in the morning and not allowed to come back until after 7 o'clock at night when that troll had left for work. So any place I could go, especially in the wintertime, you know, and those people were, I mean, yeah, they were all batshit crazy, sure, but they were nice and they never did anything to hurt me. They did everything, you know, they tried to help in their way. And I do understand and I do appreciate the fact that, I mean, they didn't push it super hard on us because of these reasons. Sorry about that. Look, my husband came in. I should have. Anyways, so yeah, traditionally, are a vast majority of Americans Christian? Yeah, but now in 2024, mm, there's a lot of other people, and it probably still is. You know, the highest, I'm just lumping all of them together right now. All of the different Christian sects. So you put them all together, and yes, Christian is the biggest here, followed by Islam, Judeo, but the thing you also got to remember is the big three: in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all use the Old Testaments. Okay, here's the difference: Judaism, they stop after the Old Testament. Islam has Muhammad. Christians have Jesus. Those are the difference. But they all start with the same book, the Old Testament, which if you've actually read the entire Bible, not just sections in Bible study, not just sat down and read that sucker cover to cover, it is a terrifying book. I have done it. It's a terrifying book, especially the Old Testament. Touchy-feely, nicey-nicey goes with, that's with Jesus. The Old Testament is some wicked, wicked stuff. Okay, so, and again, I'm not here to instruct you in religion. I'm here to talk about the fact that there are many different religions, many different religions. And it is nobody. We are in America. We are supposed to have religious freedom. That's why this idiot over in Oklahoma way overstepped his bounds by buying $560 Trump Bibles so he could be put in charge of the federal Department of Education and then dismantle it. I mean, really? Okay, but putting a Bible, you cannot put a Bible into the classroom and not put in every other fucking religious text from every other religion. You can't. That's not legal. There is a recent court case. You cannot have the 10 Commandments in a school. That's my cat's acting up. They do that sometimes. But you cannot force me in mine to convert. Okay? You can't. And it is not your place to try to make me believe what you believe. It is not my place to try to make you believe what I believe. It's not. It is not anybody's place to tell you what you can and can't believe. Your faith is that is yours and yours alone. It's what you believe in your heart and what values you hold. And if you have values at all, you know that trying to shove your beliefs down somebody else's throat is wrong. Now I know a lot of, like I had a Jehovah's Witness lady came here, a couple of years, man, she was on it every couple of weeks, she'd show up with a different chick. I swear to God, she was showing me off. I'm history buff, and ancient history is a real big thing for me. I love, old, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, and even further back than that. It's, yeah, it makes me happy. Let me be a geek. Archaeology, I love history, all kinds of history, because it tells us where we've been. And and so I do actually know a lot of history that happened during biblical times. And my little Jehovah friend would, she'd come and bring me her, her verse for the week or whatever it was, and I would give her some history lessons about what was happening around that time that specific verse was supposedly to have been written. The other thing you got to remember, the Bible is like Matt, Mark, Luke, John. They didn't actually sit and write those things. Other people wrote those things. Some of them 50 or more years after the principles were dead. So, not all of it, but some of it. So it's not even, it's that oral tradition and then finally written down. Also, there is, there is proof, concrete proof. There's a Roman historian by the name of Josephus, and if you've seen History of the World, yup. But Josephus had been a slave. He worked himself out of slavery, and back in Rome you could do that. But anyways, Josephus does talk about Jesus. Not a whole lot, but he does talk about him. And so that is, in and of itself, a tangible and other than Bible-related historian talking about the actual man. So we know he did live. He was a great prophet. He did great things. And his preaching for the time was very woke. Do you know what that word really means? I just learned myself from Tennessee Brando. It comes from an old black musician. They called him Leadbelly. I do believe his real name was Ledbetter, but old Leadbelly. And he did a song about 9 black men who were strung up for the rape of 2 black women. Of course, they didn't do it, but that didn't matter back then. They died anyways. And then that's where the term, because he would tell people, you gotta stay woke. And what that means is you gotta keep your fucking eyes open. Again, as Brando said, the opposite of woke is asleep. Do you want to be asleep at the wheel? Do you want, and personally, I always, to me, woke always meant aware. Always meant aware of what's going around you, what's going on in your world, and what's happening on the world stage. Being aware of what's going on. And again, living in other countries, there's different things that you had to be aware of. And so, coining that word and now demonizing that word is, you don't have to tell somebody to be woke. You can just tell them to open their fucking eyes. Use your brain. We only use a teeny tiny percentage of it anyhow. Study. Learn. Learn about these things. But, yes, Thomas. Thomas has something to say. And he's saying, pet me. So, but in order, oh, for goodness sakes, yes, I love my gingers. And BT Dubs in Egypt, they worshipped the ginger cat. Siamese cats come from Siam, hence the name, and they were not in Egypt. Ginger cats, on the other hand, they were worshipped. They were gods and goddesses, representative of the goddess Bas, whose one is my main. Obviously, she's one of my favorites. And yeah, I have 2 males and a very rare female ginger. I love my gingers. But I also have a couple of black cats, but that's because they came to me needing shelter, not because I specifically went out and looked for black cats. And another thing about my kitties, just a little thing. Before the Black Death swept through Europe and killed half the population, there was a pope who declared war on cats. Yeah, he declared war on cats. There's an old story that cats were made by Satan out of snakes to fool us. Actually, if you in some different iterations. It's a pretty charming story. Um, and, but this Pope decided that cats were evil, and they did a kitty purge. And a few years later, after they got rid of all the cats, here comes the plague. And it was, yeah, the upswing of rats. You get in the fleas and the ticks on the rats, you know, coming on to people, and that's how you lost half of the fucking world population. And they can actually show you in the ice cores they drill in the Antarctic. You can see the carbon drop because of the population drop. By the way, you can also see the carbon drop. The only person ever in history to make such a huge difference in the population all on his lonesome was Kublai Khan. No, excuse me. Manchuria dude. Oh, for God's sakes. Was that Kublai Khan? No. Sorry. Brain fart. But anyways, he, oh no, it's gonna bug me. The guy who came in and, hold on.